Good evening and welcome to the series of webinars at Newlands House Gallery in Petworth in West Sussex. My name is Nicola Jones and I'm a co-founder of the gallery. I'm really delighted that you're all here this evening to join us in a wonderful webinar to celebrate the genius that is Ron Arad, artist,
I'm leaving.
Architect, and here to tell you more about the exhibition, Simon de Pury, the artistic director and the gentleman who has curated our exhibitions this year. Simon.
Thank you so much, Nicola Jones. First, I would just like to say two words about Newlands House, which you, together with Khalid Al-Tajir, have founded in March earlier this year. And in early March, you've opened Newlands House with an exhibition called Helmut Newton 100, which consisted of 100 works showing the outstanding career of Helmut Newton on the occasion of the 100th anniversary of his birth. And we're very, very excited that the second exhibition to take place at Newlands House is Ron Arad 69. Now, there is a link between Ron Arad and Helmut Newton because they were great friends. And the first time I ever went to the apartment of Helmut and June Newton in Monaco, and I walked in, I saw a big portrait of Ron, which was a photograph that June Newton had done of Ron, and they photographed each other. And so there was that friendship. Now, in the same way that I have been an admirer and a fan of Helmut Newton forever, I have been an admirer and an unconditional fan of Ron Arad forever. And literally from the beginning of his career, right up to the current day. And so it's very, very exciting that we have, together with Ron, two outstanding personalities from the art world who will now have a conversation with him. And the first one is Deyan Sudjic, who used to be the brilliant director of the Design Museum in London. In fact, he is responsible for the whole move that took place of the Design Museum to this magnificent new premises that have been built by John Pawson. And he has done an extraordinary job in really putting design right on the map and creating one of the best institutions worldwide for it. And Deyan has been a fan of Ron since ever. In fact, he has written 2 books on Ron Arad. And so if there's anyone who knows the work of Ron Arad well, it certainly is Deyan. And then I am meeting through this webinar for the very first time tonight, Silvia Damiani, who is a member of the jewelry dynasty, the Damiani family, who are this extraordinary company who does some gorgeous jewelry in Italy. And the Damiani family has expanded its business way beyond jewelry, and it's really now the Damiani group that Silvia runs together with her 2 brothers. And some of the most recent pieces in the current exhibition at Newlands House are works by Ron done for Venini, because Damiani acquired Venini recently, and Ron has created some wonderful works, and I'm sure you will speak more about them during your conversation. Some of them are called Where Are My Glasses? And we see them both in the shot, in the view with Nicola Jones, behind Nicola, and we also see them behind Silvia herself. And so, and there is then a prototype for a vase which shows Lady Gaga, the profile of Lady Gaga, which is a very exciting and magic piece. So anyway, I'm thrilled that the 3 of you are here tonight And thank you again, Ron Arad, so much for making this exhibition possible, for lending your support for this fabulous show, because after having been at the MoMA in New York, at the V&A in London, at the Centre Pompidou in Paris, it's so great that now we have a mini retrospective of your work at Newlands House. So I'm happy to pass on to Deyan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Simone. Always the most elegant of introductions. I guess John Pawson designed the new design museum for us because Ron was too busy and we couldn't persuade him to take on another architectural project. If there's one thing that Ron hates, it's being categorized, but it's worth remembering that he did study architecture in London. He's worked as a designer and an artist, and the argument about the barriers between those things will go on forever and will never be resolved. But there is one thing about design which is slightly different from art, which is there is this individual group, organization, company called the client. And designers tend to have to work to a shape, to a question, to come up with some kind of answer. And I thought that it might be worth beginning with a little reflection on that. Ron, one of your clients is on this little screen right next to you, Silvia Damiani from Venini. And I wondered if you might talk a little bit about what Venini and Silvia asked of you and how you resolved that. And then maybe Silvia, you could present your side of the story.
Who starts?
I think
you start, Silvia, or me?
First.
Ron, you should start.
I start because I tried to work for Venini before Silvia stepped in, and I sort of left. Shortly after that, I was in Milan and I was invited to Silvia's office, and she said, "What do you mean you left Venini? You didn't." And she just didn't accept it. I mean, it's a bit like Trump not accepting.
No,
It's nothing like Trump.
I don't really like the comparison.
No, I thought the joke is so absurd, so it's okay.
Okay.
Anyway, no, and she sort of fixed it, and after that we did the first collection we did was "Where Are My Glasses," and it was a pleasure. It was the easiest job I've ever done, because normally when you design, it's like it's between the will of the designer and what the process and the material will do for you. But when you work with Venini, it's not only the process and the material, there's also the masters, and they have amazing masters that in glass blowing. And all I had to do is come up with an idea, because I was doing glasses. I was working, designing eyewear and stuff like that. And I thought of a little pun in English about glasses, because in English, you call this glasses and you call this a glass. In Italian, you don't. In Italian, it's occhiali and vetri, and so that's why the name stayed in English and wasn't translated to Italian. And I just simply had a great time in this amazing place that Venini is. You know, it's I always wanted to. I know people visit it, but I thought I always wanted to take all the equipment there, the tables thing, and to exhibit it somewhere outside Venice, like the design museum in, I don't know. And luckily, we were lucky with what we did. And maybe I'll pass it on to you, Silvia, now. And Maya can show the film of of the few days in Venini, making the, oh look, it works. So this is all I did, this sketch. You're safe from the music of this video, but anyway.
Well, I think what is missing is, besides the music, is what every artist really love when comes in our furnace, is really the special noise of the oven. There is a strength of the fire, and at the same time, there is a kind of course, a lot of warmth because of the fire. It's a special atmosphere, and what is really special in what was done with Ron is that he really was able to challenge our maestros, our masters, in doing something quite complicated, because normally
For starters, two people blowing together. They're used to each one have their own, but this is two people because, yeah.
Yeah,
Go
and
on.
exactly, this one is really my favorite pieces. It's very difficult to make because the two masters have to blow at the same time, and because the metal of the glasses is in a way, it looks like a belt, a tight belt that can even break immediately the glass. But if you do the job perfectly, then this doesn't happen, and actually the shape becomes something really very, very special. For me in particular, what I want to say is that every piece created in the collection of Ron is one of a kind. And for instance, the one I chose for my personal, you know,
Don't drop
for
it. Don't drop it.
joy. I would say for my personal joy, because every time I look at it, for me is a joy, is this with the double lenses. Because if you think, to me, it represents something which is really fragile, but at the same time very strong. Because in this case, it's just like two people, two entities, which are kept together by something, and they can, if they are too near, or if they get near in the wrong way, then they break. So it's, for me, is the symbol of love and harmony. And this is especially beautiful for me. Then what I like working with Ron is his high irony, because I think art should also make us laugh, enjoy being, it should also free the way we feel. And so it was an extraordinary experience for all the masters. They actually get even more strength and even more passion for what they do. They get even more interested in what is their own daily work, because they understand that their work becomes really part of something more important than simply blowing glass. They really create a piece of art.
Yeah, we
Silvia,
didn't need to.
Venini has got a very long history. Some of the great designers of the 20th century, Carlos Scarpa, etc. How does one create a family of designers who belong in the Venini tradition?
Well, I think Venini has been founded in 1921, and actually we are getting ready for our first 100 years of history. And it's a big responsibility for my family, as we joined Venini only 4 years ago. But what we have in common with the family that founded Venini, with the family of Paolo Venini, is that we really want Venini to keep his own identity, which was from the beginning to innovate the way the glass is made in Murano. Till Paolo Venini, the masters were really perfect in the way they created the pieces, but they were not challenged to create something which is sometimes mostly the physical form of an idea of a designer and or an artist. So giving shape to an idea, to something stronger than just a beautiful piece of glass. And that was why from the beginning, the artists of the time understood what Paolo Venini wanted to do with his furnace. And I think the very best way to create a real legacy with what he wanted is to continue exactly in this way. Carlo Scarpa, Bianconi, and Tobias Scarpa. Then later on, we can talk about Martinuzzi, of course, Sozza, Mendini, Gaetano Pesce, Rotella also as an artist, and of course Ron. They all have been put in a position of course, working with the techniques that Venini could give to them, but at the same time also to go beyond that. It was like it was in the Venini DNA to give a chance to the artists to go beyond with their art when they created. What is particular of Venini is also that the artists can work with a lot of colors. Venini is still nowadays the company which can have a special also secret recipes for the color we make. There are more than 125 different colors. We are also studying every year new combination to create new colors for Venini, and then many other things. In a way, I think my family and especially myself, we fell in love with what Paolo Venini wanted of his company, and we will do our best to continue his path.
Ron, did you walk into the furnace in Murano with an idea? Was it improvisation? Was it a response to the people that you met, or just watching it, or was there something in your mind already?
It was an idea to do this silly things, blowing glass instead of, you know, and so we had to do a drawing of the glasses and a laser cut model, and you know, like, I think if you're sharing screen, I can move. I can show you, like, we're in the middle of a project now. Hang on. That we do only have hang on, we have this profile project. I mean, this is the idea. I mean, this is like, can you see it? Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Yep.
This is the idea was to do profiles into glass. So this is my first sketch of taking Picasso and his model. And this is the first sketch. I mean, it doesn't exist yet. But today today you can see videos and photographs of things that don't exist. This doesn't exist yet, but we're working on it. Or taking like a Marcel Duchamp famous portrait and translate it into this. So this is my naive sketch of how to do it. This is a secret, you know, to do the profile on a hinge that you blow the glass, you push the profile into it, and then you get that. So, I mean, but yeah, you have the idea, you have the sketches, you have the renders, you have everything, but nothing is better than the thing itself. And my favorite sentence is to get something that's better than what I deserve. And it's definitely the case with everything I've done with Venini. I mean, this is like an idea of 4 Lady Gagas in one bowl, and that's the proof that what I'm saying, that what we get is much better than any of my sketches and any of the renders. It's real, and it has weight, and it looks sort of different from any size. This is another idea that combines, like the glasses. This is the Freud's house generously let me study the glasses that Freud had. They're about 5 minutes away from my home, these glasses. So I went and studied them, and this is coming. This is Freud, and Freud is asking, where are my glasses? You know, there's lots of things that
do you want to show us some of your work in? Ron,
say it again.
You've got some great film of the work you did in Africa, which to me has a little relevance to what you saw in Murano. You found extraordinarily gifted, skilled, I guess, rather than crafting going on.
Yeah, this is another this is another way of, okay, where are they? Oh, here. This is a collection that is called the Modu collection. The Modu is actually the name of this guy here. Where is Modu? Voila, this is Modu, the guy that is going to bend tube like this. And he's an amazing craftsman. And I've been working with Italian craftspeople. They're amazing, fantastic, but it's different. So what I said about working with Venini is true about working with these young African craftsmen. They know what they're doing, and they do it like whether it's bending thing, whether, you know, while I was there, I said, let's try and do a big easy, and we did it. It took us a morning to do that, and then what we did there is something that I drew on my holiday. This is I like the fact it's a very crude. I mean, I'm trying a new software of drawing there, and I'll be fast here, so you don't have to suffer all of it. And then when you hang on, this guy, for example. I mean, he's a master. And like, I mean, there was no point in interfering with the Venini masters. I can't teach them how to blow glass. I can't teach Modu and his friend how to weave. And I wanted the colors to, except from this black, I wanted the colors to be, I want them to have a say in the colors. I mean, I was there, we talked, we chose, but I wanted it to be colors that they're happy with. and that's what it was. I mean, the other side of it is, shall I continue?
Yeah, I was going to ask you about, there was a time when you made things yourself, and how the
Yeah.
experience of watching masters at work makes you feel about those days.
Look, I mean, it was very important to me not to become a craftsman, because I was not a craftsman. I don't have the temperament of a craftsman. So the early pieces I did looked like this. I mean, like you take a sheet of steel and you bend it and you weld it as best as you can, but it's primitive, it's not good. It's not, well, it's good, it works. You know, the first sketches, and then the first big easies were, I mean, here they are, the two first big easies. And I used to defend them and to say, why does everything have to be perfect? Why can't it be like the sketch? And, you know, I made a whole sort of rationale there and theory about how against making things perfect, until we got better and better. And why can't a piece of furniture don't be perfect like a piece of jewelry? So, you know, you do what you want and then you change the lyrics. But this is, I mean, this was done by me and the people around me. And actually this was too. But later it moved to real good, like in a funny way. This is, I know it's not relevant to anything, but this is the most expensive piece of mine that was ever sold. And it is a prototype, something that I welded myself with bits and pieces that I found around me. And then that was take two, and that was the last piece that I did in my studio. Then we moved to Italy to do things that we can't do in the studio with amazing Italian artisans. I mean, we learned how to model things on computer, but this guy had to struggle with it. My favorite story about this is that it was done for an event in Chatsworth House by Sotheby's called Beyond Limits. And I had a deadline for the photograph, and I said, there's no way I'm going to meet the deadline for this, for the photography, but I can give you a render that is as good as a photograph in Chatsworth. And I'm still happy that they used this for the invitation. It was in the catalog, but I wasn't late in a day or a week with the piece. I was late in 1 year. It took me a year. It took these guys a year to make this impossible piece. This is the real piece. And that maybe leads us to another thing, which is this piece.
Ron, are you happy with the results?
This is a log glider, and this is made out of a cedar. And I wanted to write something, and somehow I ended up with the William Morris sentence: "Have nothing in your house that you do not know to be useful or believe to be beautiful." And I don't like prescriptive things like that. And I added all love, which means do what you want. So, but here, this is my handwriting, but it's not done by a craftsman. It's done by a computerized woodpecker. I did it for a show.
I don't think William Morris would have liked it.
Sorry?
I don't think William Morris would have liked it. He wasn't very keen on woodpeckers or machines.
Right. Well, when I ask him, when I meet him, I'll ask him. But anyway, so when I wanted to show this video in the show, when we first showed this piece in the gallery in Geneva, and the gallerist told me, no, the last thing I want my clients to see is this video. I want them to imagine you and a chisel like Michelangelo. Anyway, so so it is.
That is another difference between art and design, isn't it? The designer is fascinated by process. People really engage with how something is made and produced. And for artists, that's losing the magic. You know, it's.
I wouldn't generalize like that. I think some artists are very excited about
showing how it's done.
Yeah, and maybe to another way to respond to your question is that recently I found myself going to a studio and painting with polyester, that is the material, and doing this. Where are we here? We are here, and here, when I did these pieces, this is a collection that's called Don't Fuck with the Mouse. When I did a series of 20, every Friday I did one. We have one of them in Newlands House because it was done for a show in LA, but one of them was so England related that I didn't send it to LA, so it's in Petworth. I'll show it to you in a second. But when I do this, I think, why am I wasting time with other stuff? Because this is like a pleasure, you can tell. So here, it was to celebrate Mickey Mouse's 90th birthday. It's a long story, but because I was approached by Disney, but you know, when you work for Disney, they don't pay you, you pay them to work for Disney. You pay them to use the word. And so they introduced me to a French company that went bust. And then I took it from being a design piece, a product, to being an art piece, an edition. It's an edition of 20. And when I called my lawyer and asked him, I know I can't call it Mickey Mouse, but can I call it Topolino, which is Mickey Mouse in Italian? And he said, yeah, strictly speaking, you can. But in my profession, there is a saying, don't fuck with the mouse. And I said, thank you, James. This is a much better name. So that is what the exhibition is called. Every Friday, I did a different one. This one is saying, I'm all ears. Too many photographs, sorry. This one is called So Far So Good, and it has the date, the original date of the Brexit, and it didn't happen. So Far So Good, and then there was like I don't know which one. Supreme. We all know that the Supreme brand that took Barbara Cougar's typeface and made a career out of it. And the one that is in Newlands House is the one I did on the 31st of January. It's the day we left Europe, and the chair is called What Now? And I on the way to the studio to make it, I bought all the newspapers of the day and embedded them in the polyester. And again, I can choose one side, but when you embed them in the polyester, it becomes transparent. And you don't know who's on the other side of Margaret Thatcher there. And you can only see it when you take it off the mold 2 days later. But again, it is sort of a chance, once in a lifetime. That's why I didn't send it to America. You have like all the newspapers, some of them mourning and some of them celebrating. We did it, and some of them did all the arrivederci and adios and auf Wiedersehen in all the European languages. There's a picture of Boris Johnson under the seat, but I don't think he appears in the photograph. So,
how about a scale shift, Ron? You want to show some of your architecture?
Sure. Okay. Let me see. Let me. This is from a talk I gave, from very small to very big. So from jewelry to buildings, and I, in that show, I said it's the same thing, same approach. But so I mean, a recent building that we've just it's completed now. Started again, like everything else, starts with sketches, and these sketches were before we even got the job. They were designed to test the client, to scare them, to see if they'll go for it or not. And I explained to the clients that this is not, it's not yet another cucumber. It's more like an iceberg. It's a building that is upside down, had a small footprint, so it frees the roof, all the machinery is on the ground. And because I said to them, it's an iceberg, the marketeers wanted to take me to Iceland to pretend to be inspired by iceberg. And I told them I don't work this way. But they had all the budget and everything, and they took an actor.
To dream the impossible. To fight the unknown.
You don't go to Iceland to look for inspiration.
This is the mission. My spirit sings.
And then there's another sort of render, a video that's not real.
Every project normally begins with sketching. We use the site plans, we use the location as our canvas. It was very important for us to have like a small...
I'll skip. And...
גני תואר נולדו כתוצאה מתפיסה תכנונית לגעת.
But then nothing is as good as the end. I'll show you the finishing. But again, I mean, the process is so similar. You know, you have an idea, you sketch. I didn't want a sculpture that you have to have in front of every building. I wanted the sculpture to be embedded in the building, so the leg of the building is the sculpture. And it's this, and it's in a funny way, this became the piece that people describe the building. The one with the golden tooth. I mean, it's really nice to do like a sketch of the security desk, the entrance desk. And it was very nice to make the gaps. Normally there's one entrance that's for wheelchairs and disabled. I made them all the same. So there's not, but let's see. I mean, what cheers me is to see, oh, it's not here. I want to show, this is the real building now, okay? And it's fully occupied, and hang on, maybe I'm in the wrong. Oh yeah, this, you know, you have a silly idea like blow glass into eyewear, and or to do like a security desk that is all one continuous band, and to see people go to work every morning, don't think even twice about it, they just go to work. And it is and anyway, so better than what I deserve.
Those drawings that you showed of the early days of this building, were you painting on a screen with that? I mean, that's a digital drawing?
I have, mostly I draw now with a light pen on a big tablet. Unlike say this drawing, this is a real drawing. This is like ink on paper. But I can do drawings. I mean, it's the same thing. You hold a pencil in your hand and you draw. It's the same, except in the old days, at the end of the day, I had like a pile of crumpled paper going from the floor to the ceiling. Now I don't.
But I think there's something about the way that you draw in the digital world that tries to show the touch of the hand, which seems to be something that's also in your work as well. That you know, the Where Are My Glasses is a collision between analog and digital, you could say.
Yeah, and yeah, I think after I had my show at the MoMA and at the Pompidou Center and the Barbican, I had to do a show here in. Look, I keep jumping to the screen. I had to do a show. Here in the museum. Where is it? In this place, in this. This is a different sketch. This is a sketch that's done with a piece of paper. Anyway, this museum that outside Tel Aviv, and I owe them an exhibition that I kept delaying. They wanted a retrospective, and I didn't want one. And then I said, I'll do a cloud of retrospective. Is to move between the digital and the manual. So I did a show called In Reverse. That is, it's to do with this, with Fiat 500s that, you know, started with playing with a toy. No artisans here, no sophisticated machine, just the press. And then this collage here, that piece that you saw coming being pressed, and that's what I wanted to do. It's called In Reverse. Is you take, normally when you design, is you impose your wheel on the material with the process, and you start with 2D and becomes a 3-dimensional useful functional object. Here I did the opposite. I took a three-dimensional, totally functional object and rendered it to be totally unfunctional and two-dimensional. So I just wanted to do something that reverses the. This is like a sketch that is done on a screen, because I didn't know how to do it, and this guy Roberto said, "I will do it a la casa in his workshop in Cantu." And I said, "How will you do it, like this?" And he didn't tell me, but at that time, he tried to do it. I didn't see this when I did the sketch, but that wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough because I wanted it completely flat. So without asking me,
I was tortured by a digger.
This is something that maybe Tarantino would be happy with, but not me.
On an iPhone film. I'm very glad this film exists.
It's
but
like trying to.
That's not what we
Even
want.
the number plate says me no.
As close to the toy crushing as we can.
Anyway,
get.
That's not what I wanted.
We had a date, and time was ticking, but and we had to find a solution.
It was a good try.
Everywhere.
But then I went to. There's a garage in London near Pentonville Prison. They specialize in 500s, in Fiat Cinquecento, and I told them what I want to do, and they started crying. And I reassured them, look, I'm not destroying it, I'm immortalizing it. And they helped me a lot. I mean, they were converted. We loaded all the 500s and we took them to Holland, to Groningen, to some shipbuilder with great presses. And it took like, before lunchtime, we finished pressing the whole show. And this was on a weekend, and all the people in overalls here are normally white collar engineers, and that was the day out. That's how they celebrated the weekend.
That's fantastic. Towards the end of the session, we can have a Q&A. So any of you virtual audience out there want to ask some questions, a little Q&A box. Get your questions in there, and I'll open it in a minute.
Can I just say something about this? Because
let me tell you
about this. Yeah, Fiat were really generous, and I asked them, I didn't even think they'll do it. Can I have the original wooden back of the first model of the Fiat 500 by Dante Giacosa? And they said yes, and they sent it to the show. And this was done by hand, before computers, no woodpeckers, and it's with rasps and chisels and drawings and sections. The only problem with me getting it there is that you can't, it's not good that in your show the best looking piece is not yours. So I had a problem, but that was the manual, and then I did this piece to give it. It was called Brody Giacosa, and this was the joining the digital and the manual together, because the grid, which is you can see here, was laser cut, and it was designed by a computer, but the work is the work of artisans, amazing artisans, and you can only do one road and then the other. You can't prepare it. You have to work, and everything is sculpted, and the inside looks like Aborigine drawing. And what you should know is that tools that we made, I later assembled, that is in Newlands House in Petworth. It's this piece that is standing outside Newlands House. Yeah, this piece. And then, you know, you can also squash, flatten cars digitally. So this here, I went to a company that analyzes accidents, and I gave them the file. Fiat gave me the files, and I said, like, can you crash a car? Took that to Frame Store. Frame Store is they make all the things you see in films, in Harry Potter and Gravity. Everything you think is real and it's not, is made by this company. And then we made. I'll finish in a second because I'll make it faster. The advantage of digital crushing is that it comes back. You can make it come back. Anyway, so and then look, I'll come to questions because I can get carried away here. Okay.
No danger. So several questions are looking at materials. Ibra is talking about glass, and Javier has asked, what's the most difficult material to work with? I guess I'd synthesize those and say, you know, you've attacked lots of materials. Have any of them managed to get their own back on you?
Like, did I get? Was I cut by glass? And what did I hit?
What didn't respond to treatment?
What didn't respond? It's normally people. It's not. No, I mean, like, there's no bad materials. It depends. Depends what you want to do with it, and it is, all materials are good, and the problem with glass is it's too seductive. It's very difficult to make things that are not beautiful in glass. If you walk in Murano, you can see, apart from Venini, you go to all the things, and it's all the same. And it's all, if you look at Chihuly, I mean, for me, it is.
No.
What? No, sorry. I mean, it is, there is a problem when something is seductive automatically. I started doing things in metal because metal was a very, very forgiving material. I didn't need to be a craftsman to bend and to weld. I thought it's not true. Then I discovered people that are amazing, but you can bend it, you can cut it, you can re-weld it, you can bolt. I mean, metal was, I worked with metal because I couldn't do wooden furniture because you have to go to, what's the name of the school in England, in the south of England?
Arnhem.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't go there. I didn't teach my at the Royal College when there was a, until I changed the name from the furniture design course, they taught people how to do dovetail connections, and it actually taught them to be craftspeople. For them, those days, to design was to know how to make it. They gave them the tools, they educated them, which changed completely in my 12 anarchic years. But yeah, all materials are good. The question is what you do with them. Sometimes you come across, you discover something about the material, and what can I do with it? It's amazing. It's fantastic. What can I do with it? I mean, it happened to me with what used to be called rapid prototyping and then 3D printing. What can I, and sometimes the other way around. Sometimes you have an idea, I want to do something. What's the best material? what's the best process. It's a two-way thing. It's not one or the other.
That's a good chance to introduce a question from Katie, who wants you to talk about ping pong.
I'd love to talk about ping pong. Do you play ping pong, Katie? Okay. When I talk about ping pong, it is ping pong. Yeah, here's ping pong. It's all about, I mean, for me to design something is to do something that didn't exist before. And it's to solve, you're curious about, what if we do a table that has a belly that is not straight? It slows the game down. It makes for longer volleys. So this is the ping pong table. There's one like that now in the gallery in Newlands House. And this is at the Royal Academy summer show. I showed it before I was an academician, and I had the best compliment I've ever got. Anthony Caro, it was sadly the last months of his life, walked to this, and he said, I was standing there, and I was introduced, and he said to me, "This is a marvelous sculpture." And I said, "Thank you, Sir Anthony." And then he says to me, he whispers to my ear, "You should try play ping pong on it." He saw it as a sculpture before he thought that I intended for it to be a ping pong table. And that is like, for me, very good. This is the first time I showed it in Bologna with my exhibition with my friend Francesco Clemente. And this is in Russia. I made a mistake because the gallerist is such a good ping pong player, and when he placed that, he was not going to let anyone touch it. And I said, "Look, you have to let people play on it. It's a ping pong table." And that was my big mistake, because he is such a good player. I couldn't win a single game against him. Anyway, so, and that is
Silvia. We have a couple of questions. Yeah.
But well, hang on,
a couple of questions for Silvia.
No, let me go to talk about material and ping pong table. Maybe, yeah. This is a later ping pong table that is, the first one was just curved in one way. This is curved in three-dimensionally. It's like a bowl, and because it's made of 10 layers of stone, it makes these circles, and it's done by a company called Cosentino, and they booked a table for me and Rafael Nadal in the Madrid Open Tennis Championship, and these are the people that just finished playing. And Nadal lost his tennis game before our game that was booked for 5 o'clock. So he packed his things and went. So I wrote in my diary a technical victory over Rafael Nadal. But let me get out of this here, go here. And I just found this here. This is plastic when I was doing eyewear. And this is where the idea is from, because I thought if you carve this, you get circles. It's not made of circles. It's just anyway. I'm ready for the next question.
If I could ask Silvia, there's several questions for her, but let me kind of channel them into one direction. Damiani is an enterprise which has a very long established jewelry business as well. Why did you ask Ron to make glass, not jewelry?
Well, I started with glass. Why not? I mean, if Ron is open to think about something in jewelry, why not? I think for me, it was really important that we started a relationship with Ron, because I like his incredible creativity. And as I said before, also is continuously looking for something that is not expected. So that's very, very challenging. So it depends on Ron. So
okay, then on Monday we'll start doing jewelry for Damiani.
Okay.
Tuesday, Monday I'm busy doing Tuesday.
all right, let's wait for Tuesday.
Okay. Ron, behind you, you've got that that book with the love in it. Can you show us that?
When
the
okay.
back to front.
Look, I can show you. I won't show you, but I when I did the Mickey Mouse chairs, sorry, the Topolino, sorry, the Don't Fuck with the Mouse.
Sorry.
Yeah. One I had the idea. Is the, let me see if I can find. Ah, yeah, here. Because there's 2 years, I wanted to do something. I just, that was the idea of that Friday, to write love, and the mirror image of love was song, but it was done very crudely. Later, this is something I'm working on now, because it is, then there's a big sculpture just that is made like that. Then I thought, ooh, this is a drawing. The shadow will also do it. So here's this piece. I have it in my hand, but you don't see me. So I'm thinking of where we can place a sculpture that will some parts of the day will think, or maybe on a pond when it reflects, and that's I just did. And
you're going to show it to us?
I can show it to you. Screen and well, okay. Whoops. So this is love, and this is song. So it's the same one. And same happens with the negative. And then I thought, I had the idea to take a book and see what happens if I do that. This is a great potential, because if you take book with colors and things. So this is I'm showing you something that is less than a week old, and don't tell anyone. I think if I knew Simone was watching, I wouldn't have shown it. Anyway.
So I think we're reaching the end of the evening. Simone, can we thank you for hosting this? And Newlands,
listen, I would like to thank you so much. It was totally fascinating. It's of course not the first time I had the pleasure to listen to Ron, but I could listen to him for hours and hours and hours. And then I must say it was such a pleasure to get to meet you this way, Madame Damiani. It was so interesting to hear what you're doing with Venini. And this is an extraordinary company. I mean, both companies, Damiani is an extraordinary company and Venini is. And then Deyan, you are the man. You are so erudite, and it's absolutely wonderful how you've coordinated and moderated this talk. And so I'm extremely grateful to all three of you. And also I would like to mention that this is only the first of a long series of webinars that you have brilliantly inaugurated. And the next one is already on the 18th of November, and it will be Anthony Gormley, who is a close friend of Ron, and of course we know that he's a fantastic artist, and also Charles Somares-Smith, who will moderate that talk with these two fabulous artists. So I hope that you've enjoyed this webinar, and I would like to express my thanks to Nicolas Jones and Khalid Al-Tajir from Newlands House for making it all possible. So thank you all so, so much. I wish you a wonderful, wonderful evening.
It's all your fault, Simon. Thanks, Nicolas, and thanks, Maya.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.